Perfect. Thanks, Dan. Well, welcome everybody. We are going to be talking about our white paper today, and we are very lucky to have on our team a very seasoned expert in this sort of thing, Dr. Marilena. Is it Pavel or Pavel?
Oh, Pavel. It's good.
Pavel.
It's good. It's good.
Perfect.
Great.
So we're lucky for many reasons. She's a brilliant published author on this topic, an educator, professor, PhD, and also was a primary author in Working Group 4's excellent paper about public safety and eVTOLs. So her guidance through this process and leadership will be invaluable for us. And today I'm going to just be on for a few minutes, and then I need to jump on a plane. So I'll hand things over to Marilena in a moment. But I just wanted to bring everybody's attention to the outline that we started working on. There's a link in your email, as well as a sign-up sheet, and so take a look at those if you haven't, and hopefully we'll be sharing those today. But with that, I'll hand it over to you, Dr. Pavel. And we were just talking about why is the white paper important, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about that, why it matters, and then also, because you've been through this process before, how did the process of writing it and publishing work when you've done it within Vertical Flight Society before?
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Andy. Thank you for the introduction. So good morning to you. Good afternoon from Europe. My name is Marilena Pavel, and I'm associate professor in Delft University in the Netherlands. We are at North Sea. And I work at Aerospace Engineering, and I work on Rotorcraft, actually. So I worked for 20 years in academia, and I teach helicopters at the faculty. And because VTOL is a vertical flight, the moment that the whole eVTOL started to develop, it got my attention. I am in the TVF groups since 2014, 14-15, since they were set up. I was at that time in in California. I lived for 5 years in Palmdale. And so it got my interest. So I worked for the TVF 4 with Johnny Do, and we published a white paper there. And I was looking this morning at the news, and I was seeing the smoke in New York. My goodness, that's terrible. And we thought at that time we really need to accelerate the introduction of services for the firefighting. I was also involved in a TVF1 because I did the certification of PAL-V. Is a small company in the Netherlands, and they are developing a kind of autogyro, kind of flying car, which is an autogyro which can go for distances. So I knew some things on the small vehicles, so that was interesting for me. And yes, my specialty is actually simulation and mathematical modeling of those. So my practicality is very different than you think. But I took the white paper and helped Andy and Chuck in the past, because we thought, okay, I can help with the writing, editing, and putting everything together. I did this already for the white paper, and I'm going to share with you the screen. I mean, it's the same document that Andy put it. But at the moment, in January this year, I put together everything what we had written on the TVF1. And this is the table of contents. Basically, we thought of 4 cases for the TVF1, the recreational use, the personal use, the corporate and business transport, and the corporate business services. So we have 4 business cases, 4 cases to study. And then we thought, okay, we are going to have an introduction, and then we are talking on regulation and transport and the top level power sources, infrastructure, it is important, and then conclusions are moving forward. Now, Andy said already, why are we writing this white paper on the TVF1, and why is so important? And I was looking at a book that was published in 2020, and that was on the smart mobility and how shall we introduce the different configuration in this smart mobility. And they have one chapter as well on the urban air mobility and the challenges and the integration. So there are more and more reasons to try to integrate our work into, let's say, into what is happening around us. And you develop vehicles in this area, so your input is very important. The case 1, the recreational use, I took it and I wrote a small text. I was putting an introduction, how I did, but I was trying to see why electric, why do we go electric? And I'm going to scroll down to the part that I was writing for case 1. We have actually already a lot of text. we have so this is the case 1, the recreational use. And while I was trying to use, so contributor Dusan was at one moment, and myself. I was looking on internet, and I was seeing a 17-year-old pilot, which becomes the youngest person to fly solo around the world. And I said, well, this is the ideal case of people to use for recreational use, to use eVTOL. So I started my my development, my opportunity, which was describing this kind of young people which are totally dedicated, and the amount of people that really would like to, that have their dream and as hobby to fly. And afterwards, I put the recreational flight that belongs to leisure time and to the social activities. And then I introduced some parts of that the Dusan wrote. He is more related towards what means in terms of aircraft configuration. So I put everything together, what we were writing what we had up to now. If somebody would like to join me in the recreational use, I mean, I was also looking on recreational use of using eVTOL for in the national parks, where you, with small hops, I mean, people are flying. So I'm sure that there is a business case where we can create that. So we can as well talk on the opportunities and challenges that are in this area. If somebody from the meeting wants to join the recreational use, just send me a mail or to Andy, and then it's not a problem. And then we moved to the case 2. Let me have a look. So we have actually a lot of text. So I looked in cities. I found one paper with cities as polycentric urban regions. So that kind of where would be in a monocentric, polycentric city, metropolitan area. So I was trying to make, probably at the end will be too much text, and then we need to just take away. But I was trying to think of everything what is possible with the possible scenarios. And this is from a paper on the path. Where they have basically 20 minutes cruise. Yes, this is from a European project, the European project MyCopter. So this is the MyCopter with the scenarios. And MyCopter was a project of European Union, and was a project of Max Planck Institute. Professor Heinrich Bulkov was the coordinator, and he is an enthusiastic of helicopter flying, and he was one of the first one that put the handling qualities that that the paths need to fulfill in order to be accepted by community. So, and he was trying here, for example, if you see full authority, it is 8 o'clock in the morning, Jim is late. He's looking for this home tab, a tablet, computer device to manage control and communication, entertainment. So he writes very, very beautiful. Good morning, sir. What can I do for you? So he likes quite nicely. So I introduced this text that that I found from a paper on MyCopter. So he was looking a lot on the full authority, on the problems that you have with partial authority. I think he will be really enjoy of flying if he can on a path. So finally, I put some challenges, and this is from an older paper already, 2017. I mean, it's not old, but at the pace that the whole community is moving, 5 years is already old, I have the feeling. I cannot keep the pace with everything what is developing. With this bow diagram, where you have the regulation, technology, safety, people, and procedures. And then the question, path for daily life. So that was the question that they were asking themselves in 2017. And the paper is beautiful because it involves all the programs in US and as well in Europe that were going on till 2017 related to let's say, urban air mobility. Then there is a case 2. Where is the case 2? Case 2, then it means that, yes, this is the personal use. So the recreational use was with this young enthusiast. The case 2 was the personal use, like I said. Case 3 was the corporate business. And here Chuck and Andy were to contribute at that moment. And they also, Andy, you also wrote some text in here, and I just put everything what you more or less add, and you see, we need just to analyze and see what is written here. And case 4, that's the cargo. And the cargo who took the cargo, the services, business cargo, Johnny, I think, was thinking to take this. And that's it. So finally, conclusion and moving forward. So at the moment, this is the structure of the paper that I have, like a whole full document. And we are needing we need to edit. Any comments on this?
This is brilliant, and it's a big deal because you've given us such a massive head start. It's one thing to start with a blank piece of paper, but you've created so much great content here that it gives us a huge head start, and we can start to add to it and build on the momentum that you've already created. So just great job.
Yeah. Thank you, Andy. You're nice. I mean, you also created in Google, and everything is there for me. If I have a whole document that I can see the way, and when I'm writing papers, I'm quite pragmatic or proposals. I'm starting from a template, and then I'm starting putting in, and then improve in time until I have the final version. So yeah.
I was just going to say this. It's fantastic. I need to jump off to
okay.
go to my plane, but we'll, you know, to the extent that we're able to share the document and make suggestions to it and additions, give us your leadership and we'll follow.
Okay, thank you. Great.
Thank you so much.
So if you would like to take one case is enough. Thank you. Have a good flight, Andy.
Thank you.
So if you are interested in one case, and I have presentations from I have in the beginning some people that presented here. Oh, I put in the beginning. Oh, I thought this is a wonderful picture. I took it from a future city. There are so many wonderful pictures how people think the cities will look in the future.
Can I ask a question just
Yes.
quickly?
Yes.
You mentioned urban air mobility.
Yeah.
Is the paper going to cover regional air mobility also? Because I know there is work on eVTOLs for regional air mobility as well.
Yes, no. We are going to concentrate on this small ones. Yes, TV1, that's the goal. And then you have TVF 2 and 3, and they are together, and that's more regional, like air taxis and hops. And then the 4 is concentrating on services. So yeah, these are the smaller ones, and I think that it's a huge challenge to have the from, you know, the future person air mobility, like small urban air, small small cars that can fly vertically and come home. So yeah, actually that was the dream of Sikorsky. That they were advertising in the 40s after the Second World War. So for personal use, I think personal use is a challenge, at least in Europe. I don't know. I think regional taxi will enter sooner, but personal use, that's a challenge. But who knows? I'm sure some people will be able to use. And PAL-V, I don't know if you know, the PAL-V, it is a flying car. It is developed as a flying car in the Netherlands, so driving on the highway and then able to fly vertically, to lift off and go somewhere. So this is at the moment case 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you think of new cases related to the small ones, you can just tell me.
Marilena, just first of all, just to reiterate on Andy's comments, fantastic work and really appreciated. I was wondering, from a practical perspective, is there maybe a Google Doc that could be made available to the group that the group could put, you know, dynamic comments on the side as just kind of a format for brainstorming, and maybe that would be, you know, kind of a helpful next step, both from adding content and contributing, but also introducing, you know, ideas around sources and other sections, etc. Would that be helpful, you think?
Yes, that will be very helpful. If you can help with the Google Doc, in the Google Doc you can introduce comments and make changes, and I see all the changes, so it's there.
Okay.
We also, when we write a paper with more people, we do the same. So we have a Google Doc, and then there we edit different people edit different parts, modify, and then you can see it, add comments. Okay. So it's possible, yeah.
Okay, great.
And they send you the link already, so where there is.
Okay.
Per case, so that would be. And you know, the question is in this white paper, how far do we go in the technical details now? Because first of all, when you write a white paper, first, who is the public? Who is going to be interested in this now? So we need to ask ourselves, who is going to read this, and what do we want to convey to the people? Why are we writing a white paper for TVF 1? So you know, technically we can go to advantages, disadvantages, problems, no, but I wouldn't go to the very low, to a too high level of detail. We need to think, who is the public? So if you would like to give it to the policymakers, no, to convince them, oh, wow, this is a good case. So we need to write a white paper that appeals to them.
Maybe that would, on the Google Doc, that would be a good you know, in the beginning section of the document, not necessarily it will live on into the white paper itself, but just for the group, maybe asking some of those questions so that we can collectively define and provide thoughts. That might provide a good framework for the content.
Yeah, I think so. That's a good point. I think, thank you, Danny. I will put that, because indeed people will contribute also if they think, oh, this is interesting, and we need to think of that. Okay, so that's a good suggestion. So I will put critical questions. So if you can put your point of view there, we can go from there. And for example, I was at the Vertical Fly Society at the conference, and you see already a lot of papers on the eVTOL, but they already go into more and more detail, you know, like pilot-induced oscillations, and you know, already starting. One is on handling qualities, one is on the simulation, one is on. What I see is that at the international community is that we all start to use very fancy methods, you know, artificial intelligence and then everything. While if I look at the eVTOL, how most of the companies develop, they do it as well, very pragmatic, by going and flying it as soon as possible, getting sponsors. So I see like a big discrepancy that is going between these two communities. So it would be good to think of how to do. What I can also share with you, because I thought this is interesting, so I will stop share. And then I'm going to go to a different document that I want to share with you. They are talking about a different about the taxonomy for the future for the eVTOL, and I thought this is an interesting point. Where is that taxonomy?
Marilena, while you're looking for that,
yeah.
I think it's an interesting question who the audience is, from two kind of major buckets perspective. On one hand, an audience might be those that are already in the industry, and then, you know, whatever the content is going to be. The other bucket, it occurs to me, is a more general public. And the reason that I mentioned that is that almost without exception, when I talk to, you know, the man on the street or my family or whoever, and I talk about these use cases, usually the response is, oh yeah, you know, I heard something about that. Interesting. Maybe in the next 10 to 20 years, there'll be something like that. And there's a complete lack of understanding of how far along all of this is. And certainly if we chose that, you know, the paper is going to be for the general public versus it's going to be for, you know, people within the industry, that creates a whole a fairly significant differentiation on, you know, content and tone and voice and all that type of stuff. So maybe that's one fundamental question to ask, is not only who's the audience, but which of those two categories will it be? And I do think, you know, now is kind of the time that something like this that is for the general public, you know, could get a lot of traction, and which also could provide some great visibility for VFS, et cetera. But maybe thoughts around that would be interesting from the group.
We shouldn't forget the lawmakers, because they will not be in the business, but they might need some more information than the general public, at least to help take decisions, because we all know the legislation is not there for regional and urban traffic.
Yeah, Yes, lawmaker. Who is the audience? Yes, you know, it's very interesting because we put a course of urban air mobility in Delft. So it's about the introductory course on everything. Now we got a lot of reaction, negative reactions from the greening community. You know, here in Europe, you have a very different point of view. You know, okay, you aircraft pollution, no go. So basically, I know that the airport, they demonstrate. You see that they put their fingers on Rembrandt in musea. Yes, they are quite, you know, aggressive, and you can basically, it's very difficult to convince those people that this is a kind of positive, that's a positive development, and or how right are they in their ways of doing. Actually,
well, I mean, I'm
yes,
sitting in France, and the French government has or will shortly forbid or stop flights that can be done by train under 2 hours.
Oh yes, yes.
And that kind of rips the carpet off the market, potential market for regional air mobility.
Yeah, you're right. I know. Well, at our university, we are not allowed to go by airplane in a radius of 500 kilometers. And that creates a stupid and incredible, because if I want to go to Manchester, I need to take the train. If I want to go to Liverpool, which is next to Manchester, I need to take I can't take the airplane. So those
and
kinds.
It's the same airport. It's the same airport. You're flying
Yes.
to the same airport.
Yes. They're very close. So they create such an incredible, but yeah. So we need to think as well to those kind of people and how to convince them, or to put some thoughts in it. And as I said, as long as we are honest and positive and negative, you know, I think that would be good. And what are the challenges, and what is the way? This is the second document. This is from the VertiFlight. And there was a lot of discussion at the Vertical Flight Society on the new taxonomy of the VTOL aircraft. And you see that there was a wheel in the past, and now it is transformed in triangles. I still don't understand everything what they write here. they have the lift through screws and lift thrust and cruise thrust, lift, and they try to put as well to connect to the propulsion, to the propulsor types. And the advantage of this is that they hope that FAA and EASA, according to the type and the propulsor that they have, they will define the requirements. So they already categorize which requirements should be fulfilled to certify the vehicles. And this is also an example, the propeller, fan, turbojet, and then the rotors. So if you, I hope I can share. There were special sessions at the VFS discussing this. And who knows, probably one point I thought, okay, because this is a new development since we started the white paper, we can also think where are our configurations and how can be certified, and where can we fill in this circle, these parts of the triangles. So that was just one thought from my side, one more thought. For the rest, yeah, I would like to think of the way forward. Now, basically, if the students take holiday, then I have more time. So probably in June, July, I can spend a few days to make some advancement with the paper and add some more text in the cases that I put, and also in the introduction, you know, with introduction and probably some on the propulsion power. The question is, when would we want to have this white paper ready? What is our path and plan? For example, in January, there is the conference in United States, the VTOL, I don't know how it's called, but I think Andy is also going there, and he will present the work of TVF1. Do we want to participate in this conference? Do we want to be ready by January, in a half a year? It would be nice to not make it too long as a white paper. We can think of the second white paper. The problem if you take a very long path for a white paper is that what you write is won't be any more valid in the next if you go after 1 or 2 years. We need to be very careful on the pictures that we put, because we have copyright problems, those kind of things. And I would be happy if you can think, in general, which cases would be interesting for you, and to say, as Danny said, let's make some critical questions and what are the inputs.
Makes sense.
So I don't know, what do you think? When would we publish this paper? What would be a good, is it a good moment, or?
Yeah, I would say the sooner the better.
Yeah.
Things are moving very rapidly from our point of view. I'm looking at it from a manufacturer's point of view. Since we're trying to build one right now, and we have a flying model here, but also another thing is, I was looking at your paper a little bit. Have you talked about like EMT or emergency response first responders? And they're thinking about using our personal aircraft as a first response vehicle, possibly. So we're talking to the cities, kind of a grassroots type scenario where we're talking to the cities and the police and seeing how they would use this in a hurricane situation and so forth, here in Florida.
Yeah.
So, I would be happy to help on any of the subjects, from our point of view.
Okay.
As far as a manufacturer's point of view.
Okay.
And what we're going through. And as you show in this thing, Mosaic is actually working on a similar thing with the FAA right now to basically create an outline that would be used kind of like a plug and play type requirements for getting certification. So if you have, how many props do you have? How many motors are you using? What's your redundancy? Do you have a parachute system, et cetera, et cetera? They're doing a similar thing as this triangle, but it's more of a form. And then you could look up the individual requirements for that, for the FAA. That has not been approved yet. That's still in meetings right now. They're supposed to vote on that, or not vote on. They're supposed to do the initial release of some of that in August, I believe, of this year. And that will probably be for the unmanned vehicles first, and then the manned vehicles will come second, possibly. So that's the news I have.
Derek, I had kind of heard through the grapevine that maybe Mosaic was trying to target Oshkosh to release their next iteration. Is that, that's in July, isn't it?
Right, July. They were hoping for that. I don't know if it'll happen or not. I hear mixed messages on that. Last year, they were supposed to do it at Oshkosh. We actually went to Oshkosh last year and demonstrated our simulator. So they did not release it last year. They postponed it till this year, and now they're saying maybe August. I think that's their deadline, actually, is August, but I'm not for sure.
Okay.
So it's very relevant right now because this is like I would say it's the initial, it's horse and buggy to automobiles right now. It's really that critical. This is going to, personal mobility is going to create freedom for people to do short travels. And a lot of people are interested in this right now.
Yes, yes. Mhm. Great.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
You know, it's interesting, Derek, that last comment you made. If we decide that this is going to be targeted towards the audience of the general public, I think it would be interesting to have a section that is, you know, what does this mean to you? Because there's an element of information. Gee whiz, this is a lot further along than I thought. But the next level of kind of understanding is, oh, you know, will this actually affect my life? Well, you know, am I going to have actual interaction with, you know, some of these use cases? And that would be kind of interesting, and probably would be you know, draw interest from.
Well, I can give you an example right away. We have people already signing up to pre-purchase. We've got deposits and so forth. So so one doctor is going to purchase one. He lives at it's kind of like a airport where he lives, you know, a personal, I don't know what they call them exactly, but you can take your airplane out of your hangar and you can fly right next to your house, and you can land right next to your house right now. It's set up that way. Well, he's already talked to, he's a doctor and he works at a hospital. He's already talked to them about landing our eVTOL on the helipad there. And they've given him permission, and the HOA at the place he lives loves this because it's a lot quieter than helicopters and other vehicles right now. So they've given him permission to land there, of course, too. So he's already set up, he's got a daily commute he's going to do and save about 30 minutes of time every day in traffic from his house to his work. So it's a very, very important, I think.
But how do we address that if everyone who today sits in car queues in major cities, if all of them, I mean, that's the extreme, if all of them get themselves an eVTOL to commute to work? And that is a question that will come up. And so we should consider addressing that.
Yeah. Everybody's thinking of different ways to handle that scenario. There may be air traffic lanes. There may be just a sophisticated integrated traffic control system that's, and right now you can fly by, it's more than instrumentation. It's basically a DFR, digital flight rules, is what they're talking about to a certain degree. So in other words, computers would take over and kind of like, you're too close to the person there, you need to move back a little bit and so on. It would automatically. The air traffic right now is not condensed. It's very loosely spaced, but they can tighten it up quite a bit, is what they said.
Yeah.
It's possible. In other words, it's very possible with the automation, especially the automation we're trying to put into the eVTOLs themselves. They practically fly themselves. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Marilena, this document that you have up looks very interesting. Is that something that is available?
Yeah, this is, yes, I mean, this is available. I can send to you. I want just to say to you that indeed people are already busy making statistics who will use and how much. So you have one example of urban air mobility is from a book which is called let me have a look. Demand on smart mobility. with basically integrating all the smart mobilities in the cities, and one is on urban air mobility. So they have a male and female, and then fun to use, autonomous, and excited about new technologies and autonomous modes, and willingness to pay new technology products, have fear to use. I see that this is more about automated technology, but the other one, so I have who will use, you know, it seems that older people probably they don't buy immediately an personal air mobile, but people with young kids that they need to commute quicker, they are much willing to buy something like that you can buy one for the small community from at the end of the street, and then you can use shared. You can share it with other neighbors in order to use it. No, so there are some ways of implementing it. So that we are not going to be to have one per person, but like we have cars in our days, but to share. So this is business, social activities, recreational, work, shopping, education. The likelihood to vary at 3 purposes. I can share with you, and probably done. I don't know. There must be. We can share documents, and I can share with you this these documents, because a lot of people are publishing now on passenger adoption and spatial welfare and effect. So this is one.
Great.
Yeah, just one example. But the MIT, they have there also a group on urban air mobility, and they have very nice work done on who and why are they going to use this. So we can use it for our paper, because yeah, we are going to cite them and make our case. Yeah. So, okay, so there is an immediate need as soon as possible to do this white paper. And how shall we do it? What shall we take as a plan? I'm going to ask some critical questions in the beginning, like Danny suggests. And if you start thinking why is this white paper interesting for you and urban air mobility, and to think what the audience. So I'm going to do that, and if you want to, you can add new questions and or send me a mail if you are interested to participate in one case. Look what I wrote, and then complete review what we wrote. Andy as well wrote, and then myself, and Dushan also wrote for this white paper. Chuck wrote a bit. Yeah. We can try to think to have it by the end of this year. That would be, for me, a realistic deadline, I would say. Mm-hmm. And we will see where we are going to publish it. Vertical Fly Society, NASA, probably, I don't know. We published the first one with NASA. I don't know if they are going to support us on this, but there are as well other ways of publishing, Springer, and even I can through the library of TU Delft, they have publishing services. So there are ways. The most important is afterwards you get the message across to the ones that you want, that you need.
Marilena, I was talking to Andy related to the meetings in general, and potentially leveraging the VFS forum, the discussions board, as a venue for maybe putting information out there about our meetings, and then potentially getting more of the VFS community involved. And I was wondering if you thought that, if you think that's a good idea related to this, I can put a post on there saying, hey, we have a meeting. There's a white paper that's being worked on. There's some, can include some general, here's some of the topics that were discussed. The nice thing about that bulletin board as well is that or that forum is that then it allows kind of threads to come off of it, from that community. That might be helpful as feedback and ideas for us as a group, if you're okay with that.
Yes, of course. Yes. I'm sure that there are as well young people, and they are enthusiastic, and they can contribute, and they have ideas. Yeah. So then if you do it through the VFS, I mean, I am with simulation and modeling now with a committee, and now with safety committee. Yes. Okay, so that would be my deadline, let's say, by the end of this year. So I plan June, after mid-June, July, before I go on holiday in August, to have a kind of a version. But if you can help me before you go on holiday, let's say, that would be a deadline, and afterwards in September we take it further and we publish as soon as possible.
That sounds great. Really appreciate all the work that you've put into this so far.
Yes, I like the TVS. Thank you. I like the TVS groups. I like because they are dynamic. So thank you those that are going to manufacture and produce them and take them to the next level. Okay, so I suggest we close the meeting and see you in the future meetings, and hopefully we will have interesting people talking and see how the things are developing. Hey, Andy, he's in the airplane. Yes.
Boy, that was great timing.
Yes, that was good. So, yes. So I would say, yes, have a nice flight, Andy, and yes, all the best to you all.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you. Bye-bye.
Have a nice week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.